Messages, top chat. Messages are visible. I think that's right. Right. Oh, shit. Excuse my French. I think that's the lowest it goes. I think, am I adjusting this that long? That'll do. Right. That's better, I think. I can see what I'm doing. Oh dear. Good evening, everybody. This is what will now be the monthly vlogs. I don't know how long I'm going to last tonight because, as you can hear, my throat is pretty crackly. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit run down this weekend. So, what I had planned to do. Hello, Kelly. Good to see you. What I did want to do tonight isn't going to happen, but it's still in the pipeline. So I'll keep you posted on that. Maybe I'll do an extra live feed at some other point rather than wait till next month. We'll just see what happens. So yeah, just on the old here's Walter Honest. Yeah, just there you go, a bit of free advertising for them guys. These are made out of these bottles are made out of sugar beet, I think. Made in England. Sugar cane. That's it. These bottles are made out of sugar cane. Get me Woolworths. Filled with water, obviously. They're like £3 each, but I use these all the time because I've got a zero water filter, which takes everything out, fluoride, all the metals, literally everything. You need a. I know, Kelly. Rest isn't an option at the minute. I'm going to try and get some this weekend. Yeah, we'll hopefully we'll see how that goes. Although I might be going live on Saturday night. I'm just waiting for feedback from a couple of people. But yeah, I don't need to rest up. I know that. Flitting around here, there, and everywhere, as you know. I've been still working during the week. DJ work Thursday, Friday. Was covering my friend last Sunday. Plus, obviously, trying to get the content going for you guys, and actually being a crew member for I'm going to show my t-shirt off, actually. Bit of free advertising. Oh, oh man. Right. Oh, there we go. Obviously inside out. Hang on. Excuse me. Here we go. So yeah, it's these guys. Obviously it's in reverse, got reverse camera on. Ghost, and that's the. So you'd have to reverse the website. Let's go something to tour. So yeah, quite recently joined them. It's been a really novel experience actually being a crew member as opposed to just being a paid member of public to go on the tours. And yeah, seen some interesting stuff. Some different ways of getting interactions with spirits. It's been a educational, shall we say. But yeah, I've been enjoying that so far. As a crew member, I've been to Dover Castle, as you know, and then went to Fort Horsted, which was a couple of weeks ago. That will be up on my channel. I'm doing the edit for that at the moment, but that'll be up on the channel in a few weeks. And we got a lot of activity in that place. I won't talk about me getting lost. That was funny. Yeah, Fort Horsted, that's in Chatham. Ironically, when I first started looking at the forts, as you know, I've been to East Tilbury several times. I've been to Redoubt. Um, I've been to Sean Mead as well. Did want to do Coal House. Hang on, that's gone. Probably come back in a minute. Um, yeah, I'd love to do Coal House. Maybe we can get in there at some point. Um, and this Saturday just gone, we visited the gunpowder mills at Altham Abbey, and that proved interesting as well. Now, as I said, the other crew members do a combination of Ouija and other bits. Whilst I don't personally use Ouija boards, I felt comfortable when I was there when they used them, but I probably won't use them myself for obviously the obvious reasons. But also, when people come on to these book tour events, all the crew members take you to different part. You swap around your teams of people, and you go to different parts of the buildings with different people, trying to get different ways of interaction. Now, so that would involve the Ouija board, moving the glass, table tipping or table spinning. That was a force that was mental. And as I say, you'll see the content in a few weeks. But it was really good. That was a really active place. I'm going slightly off piste here. But just quickly, obviously now I've got a lot of equipment. I've got a lot of communication gear. So I tend to veer towards using all that because I can do Estes method, do the spirit box and all the rest of it. So I tend to veer towards that rather than table tipping is fine and everything. That's great. But obviously, when people go around and want to sort of experience different ways of interaction, and that's what I provide. Yeah, all the other bits are just great. As I was saying, I went slightly off piste. As you know, I've been visiting quite a few of the forts that can be found in this part of the country, and some of the forts when I was looking, like you got Essex and Kent are the nearest ones, so that's around the Thames Estuary and up that bit of the east coast of Anglia, or Essex sort of thing, and then around the Medway, and just around that bit of the English Channel, sort of North Sea, that area. Now, whilst places like East Tilbury and Redoubt have been sort of left to go back to nature and what we've sort of become, what you now class as urban explorers, to have a look at these sites. Other ones such as Horsted are looked after in that they have staff and volunteers and things which look after these sites. So to get access to them as a single paranormal investigator would be sort of nigh to impossible. Oh, really? I don't know if anyone can block that. Second Fine Biz. Just report it. I don't know how you do that. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Remove. Remove. Now that was something I didn't expect. Remove. Report. Hang on, I've just got to get rid of this. Done. Now, sorry, I won't see for a little while. Yeah, sorry, as I said, faults like Horsted, I think Slough Fault as well, which is over by All Hallows. That will be another visit in due course because that's where if you remember, I did the Canvey bomber that come down. The other bomber that crashed is on that side of the water. So at some point, I'll be visiting All Hallows, see if we can get some content there. But yeah, as I said, faults like Horsted, Slough, and a lot of the rest of them, the access to them is very limited. It's only when staff are there, or when teams such as ghost hunters can get these sites, that's when you get access. So to me, as a single explorer, I'll be very hard pushed to get in there. So that's the other plus point about getting in, because these are places you wouldn't normally see. So yeah, Fort Hurstead done. Waltham Abbey's just the same. Ordinarily, you not get nighttime access for the same reason, but as a book paid event, they can then open these places up. And hopefully, what we want to try and do is get together some teams to work Essex, and then we can look at getting properties that are all, places that are in Essex, and we can get to visit them as well. But that'll all be, I suppose, stuff in the new year. As I say, this is going to be quite short and sweet tonight because, yeah, I need me bed. Yeah, there we go. Obviously, you've seen me new equipment. I've got the Ghost Box, which has proved itself. It's worked. It's really good. I'm trying to think if I did get anything else. No, we're all right at the minute. I'm just waiting on another REM pod. I seem to have this knack of putting. Fortunately, they're I say cheap ones are 30 odd quid, but I seem to have a knack of leaving them things behind. So yeah, I'm just waiting for another one of them to turn up. Right, what else? I'll get on to upcoming content in a minute. I'll just get on to what I've been up to last couple of weeks. As you know, I've got another Saab. I've got the 9.3 Turbo SE. Finally got that down to the Saab guy in Benfleet, who has now had a look at the airbag, or been able to, I say look at the airbag, being able to read the data that comes off the Tech 2, which, although I could see it, I wasn't sure what I was looking at. So rather than me poke around and potentially do untold damage, it was better to give it to someone who knows what they're doing. And we determined, or rather he did, worked out that the airbag itself is knackered. It's apparently little firing bins, they corrode all the connections to them. So obviously it's sending back fluctuating voltages or resistance, and that's what's causing the issue. So what he's going to do, he said he's got to cut the seats out of a Saab Aero, which should have the same airbag, and he's going to, once he's ripped them down, he's going to give me a call, take mine down, and he'll swap them over. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but at the end of the day, this got to be done. So, I mean, once that bit's out of the way, once the airbag is done, the other bits of work to get the Saab, get the 9.3 to a sort of solid MOTable status. The other bits I need doing, like the warp disc and a couple of other bits, are sort of rudimentary jobs. They're not something that requires a specialist knowledge, and as such should be relatively easy to deal with. So yeah, step one, get the airbag done. Step two, get the rudimentary work out of the way, get it MOT, and then step three, we'll get the hood working, and then step four, we can look at starting on the cosmetics of it. So it's just getting that solid base for the car. Because as I've said before in a few previous videos about that motor, the engine's really sweet. It actually drives quite nice, considering it's done 170,000 miles, and it's not led the most cosseted life by the looks of it. But as I said, the motor seems to be in really good shape, so all good. Hang on. On the motorbike front, now obviously there's been a lack. I haven't done any idiot driver compilations for a little while. There will be one coming up. I think I've got enough clips. A little bit of the issue is now that I've gone to a new mobility car. Well, I've taken the dash cam out of the old one. I can't really fit it into the new one at the moment because the dash is about 3 foot in width. And I don't think I've got quite the length of wire to get to the the cigarette lighter. So, the dash cam's gone back into my Saab Midmi 95, and I haven't done many clips from the bike. Half the reason being is obviously I use the Honda a lot. It's fulfilling the purpose that I bought it for. One of the purposes I bought it for, in being a sort of more or less not quite daily transport, but regular transport. One of the things is with my old lid, I used to have the GoPro on the side of it, and I've now thrown that lid. I've had it for donkey's years. It's due to, get thrown. I bought my Nolan, me M100. Give me a minute. I'll quickly show you quickly. Oh. Oh, mind the belly. There we go. Right. That's the lid that's replaced it. That cost me 230 quid. The bike shirt, the XL. It is a lovely, lovely lid. It was £100 off. They sort of normally go for like 330 quid, but I got it for 230. As far as lids go, it's the probably the most expensive one I've ever owned. It's pretty quiet, and that's half the reason why I haven't fitted my GoPro into this, because obviously when you've got a camera there, possibly even the chin bar to an extent, obviously that creates drag and it creates wind noise. So that's really what I didn't want for this lid, especially as I've got this actually has a Bluetooth. Nolan actually make a modular Bluetooth kit for these, which was another 180 quid. So that's in there, but I've got to admit that the Bluetooth kit in this is just the nuts. I had in my old lid I had a Bluetooth kit from Wish, which was like £30. Don't get me wrong, they do work, and they're pretty good actually. But the main thing I found with them was that above 50 mile an hour, you can't hear them. And obviously, if I'm going up and down motorways, it's nice to be able to have music that you can hear, but B, if someone needs to get hold of you, they can. With the Bluetooth kit for these, I can still hear it at 70. Oh shit! Just done it again. I can still hear the music and the phone calls at 70 mile an hour. So yes, I said 70. So yeah, it's just a great piece of kit. But as I said, if I was to put a GoPro anywhere, a Sena might be an option. I might look into getting a Sena. They're the little round ones, and obviously, there's less drag with them. The downside with the Sena is I don't think they've got an external microphone connection, or I'll look into that. Obviously, the GoPro has, which is what I've used to do my motorcycle vlogs with. The other issue is if I was to put the GoPro on the front, obviously I've got the chin bar there. It's going to get in the way. Plus, you need the extra wiring and stuff for the microphone, because I've got to put the microphone in somewhere. So that's not ideal for carrying a GoPro. So I've now got to suss out where to put it on the bike itself. Now the Honda's quite a big bike. I've got lots of little bars and things. So I'm sure I can find somewhere appropriate and mount my GoPro. But so I'll do that anyway. I do have another lid, my green one, my MT, which for a budget lid, actually, sorry, I'll get that one down more. Can have a look. Here we go. All right, that's my other one. This is actually a budget helmet. These come in 80 quid. I'm sure going about 80 quid for this. The Iridium visor was like another 20 quid, which is great for summer riding. Just takes that glare out, and even then, I still have an internal. If I can do that. Where are you? There you are. There it is. And then you can see that there's another sun visor inside as well. So that's a great lid for the summer. They're actually pretty quiet for the money. I quite like these. They got a nice fit. But what I thought I'd do is use that for my vlogging helmet. All right. So there's a mic running in there. GoPro goes there. That's not too bad. But because it's a fixed front, obviously there's no wires or anything poking out anywhere. So that's now my vlogging crash helmet. The only downside is, I say, because that's tinted, I can't wear it at night. So it's so I say it's a great summer lid because you know, with longer days, obviously it's nice to have that tinted visor. But yeah, that's like my vlogging helmet. Yeah, so there we go. A little bit of an insight into my biking exploits. So yeah, we'll figure out how to do a camera on the Honda. Maybe something I'll do tomorrow if I finish work early. I think I might be, but I've still got plenty of editing to do, which I'll get into in a minute. Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I mean, otherwise the Honda's been great. It's just a great bike to ride. I mean, for a big bike, it's quite nimble, and it's weird when I know I've said this before somewhere, but getting back on when I go back to sit on my Triumph feels like a toy. And I'm thinking, how did I ride this all around Germany? You know, but I'll do it. I'd still do it again on that. Regarding the Triumph, that's having a little bit of a rest at the minute. Something I think I've covered again as well. The cam chain needs to be replaced, so I'm only really running it round the block just to make sure things are ticking over. My mate Alistair, who does all my my mate Alistair, who does probably about 90% of the work to my bikes and my cars. He's chock-a-block with work, so he won't be able to look at it until near sort of Christmas time. So I've got to get in touch with him and see where he's at. We can get the chain in, get that done, get the cam chain done. I'll probably get the seat recovered as well because I've had it in 10 years and there's a split just formed in the seat. So I'll try and get that done at the same time. It's a bit frustrating because I opened the garage up and that's all I've ridden the Honda. I sort of look at the Triumph and think, I just want to get out, you know. Oh yes, yeah, I'm going to get onto that. Yeah, cheers, Essex boys, it's outlaw. Yeah, just getting onto that. Yeah, the Thunderbird, as I say, cam change should be done hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Or I'll be getting it up to my mate in the next couple of weeks. Get that sorted out. Get my seat recovered, and then hopefully I can then concentrate on getting the Saab 9-3. Start getting that up to speed. And I'll be hopefully videoing the bits and pieces on that. So yeah, content wise now, as you know, I've been one busy boy getting the content. I mean, I seem to be, no matter how much I do, I keep seeming to be playing catch up with things. So what you saw last week, the return to St Andrews in Ashington, actually showed some very different results to when we went there a couple of years ago, because it was a Viking Spirit that came through. Now, someone mentioned about how would an Anglo-Saxon speak English. Well, I guess we'll find out when we cross over. All I could probably say is if you've been on this plane for around 1,000 years, you might have a little bit of time to learn the language. I don't know. All I know is that's what was coming through my dowsing rods, and I've used them to good effect for a lot of different things, including Kevin Whitaker. 2 secs. Yes. Now, as you know, I did go and visit where I think Kevin was dumped. certainly my dowsing rods took me to the spot, or rather asked the question of my dowsing rods and where I needed to go. I followed where they took me. It seemed a very plausible spot, just on the Dunton Road. There's like another turning, just coming off of the Dunton roundabout. If you're going towards Little Bursted, that's it, Billericay Way. Yeah, just as you're going towards Little Bursted, just off the Dunton roundabout on the right, there's another turning. Well, on that corner there's like a ditch or like a deep, and it drops, I would say, sufficiently enough for you to be able to roll a body down there and for it not to be noticed unless you sort of walking that. You probably wouldn't see it from a car, but I'd say if he's walking the path, you would see it. Anyway, my dowsing rod's pointing me to over to that spot, so that's where I went with my recording equipment. Now, bearing in mind, this is 1 o'clock in the morning. I finished work at Brentwood. This is why I get so knackered, because sometimes this is when these things occur. So anyway, I've gone down now. Just literally my tripod, camera. I kept it minimal, cat ball, and Spirit Box app. So that's all I ran. And I think the last time I spoke about this, it was if I felt I got anything that come through there, then I would try and get back there with a medium and see if we can get some more, hopefully get some closure for Kevin, and get his story out, and hopefully if he's stuck, to get some closure and let him move over. That's my plan. All I can say about Kevin is I think I did get something. And that will be up in 2 weeks. The editing's done for that. And that'll be up in a couple of weeks. This week coming up, it's another old site, which we went to last year with Tina, Jay, Ricky, and Tracy, which is the St Mary the Virgin Church in Great Baddow, and this was at the time this was a B site, because site A was Chelmsford Cathedral. We went there, and whilst I did get a couple of little EVPs out of the place, it was hard to sort of settle down and do anything proper there. Mainly because Chelmsford Cathedral's in the middle of Chelmsford, so you got people milling around and all sorts, so it was hard to, as I say, settle in and get anything. So site B was St Mary the Virgin, and when I went over there, what I read about the site on the internet, Paranormal Database, I think it was, said about the ghosts of soldiers, or some, yeah, it was a ghost of soldiers, and they could be seen looking at the church, something like that. So I thought, okay, we'll give it a crack. As I say, this was last year, we went there first time. We'll give it a crack, see what we can get. Well, anyway, we've got there set up. Did get a bit of rain that night as well, so it was body's on standby. I'm walking around the site and I'm reading the history as I'm going, and something knocked me for six about this place, in that it was one of the sites involved in the Great Peasant Revolt. Those who know the English history will know about the Great Peasant Revolt. Very quickly, what I say, it happened in 1381. Shortly after the Black Death, we'd lost about 50% of our population, so it was very short of manpower to be able to man the field, put labour into the fields and farming and all that. And the monarchy, when it attacks the peasants, extra to fund their military. And there was one or two other bits, but it was a grossly unfair thing. And there were several main protagonists who got together and brought the people of Essex and Kent together to revolt, basically, to go against the monarchy, which is Richard the Second, I think, Richard the Second. So this is like 700, just over 600 years ago, this was, a revolt against the monarchy. Now, the main protagonists for this were Wat Tyler. That name might sound familiar, particularly if you're Essex like myself. Wat Tyler, we've got Wat Tyler Park in Pitsea. It's a country park. It's nice neck of the woods. Nice and peaceful. But that park was named after Wat Tyler, who was part of the Great Peasant Revolt. And then I came to the third name, and it knocked me bandy. And it was a guy called John Ball. Obviously, my name's Adam Ball. And the name Ball only comes from one place, which is Scandinavia. And when as you know, when I've done my ancestry about my Viking heritage, the Danish Vikings come in my side of it. Yeah, that mad, isn't it? Oh, hang on, it's just gone. Yeah. We're going to be doing a lot more about John Ball, as I say. I'll be getting onto it. Hang on, it's just going again. I'm trying to suss all this out. What have you just done? There. So just go off shit on. Yeah, great to have you with us, Stuart. Yeah, as I say, the family name of Ball, or Bowles, or Bowl as it was originally spelled, B-O-L-L-E, originated from Denmark, or the Danish Viking section. And the Danish Vikings were predominantly the ones that come in via Anglia, the Thames, around that section would. And my lineage settled in Cambridge and then moved down to London at the end of the 19th century, or the latter part of the 19th century. So the name Ball only comes from one place. I'm like, and I just got this feeling. I thought, am I linked to him? Well, anyway, we've got to start. I mean, you can watch the episode. It's it's on my channels from last year. And actual fact, the new intro video I've made, two of those clips is from that, and you can see in that Tina's pendulum, because as we started asking about John and Wat Tyler, John started coming through to us, and Tina's pendulum was doing that. It was going crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, we are, Stuart. I mean, I can, without a doubt, now say that part of my lineage played a big part in English history, and that in itself is another weird link, which I'll get on to. So, yeah, John Ball started coming through to us. And I can't remember the ins and outs of it, as I say, because it was recorded last year. Go back and watch it if you haven't already seen it. And you could knock me down with a feather. I mean, literally, my family has been here for 1100 years. That's how far back my lineage goes here, as far as I can see. Because we come over in the 10th century. We would have been one of the first settlers from the Danish part of the Vikings. The Norwegian Vikings were the ones that raided Lindisfarne and up the Scottish coast, whereas the Danish ones come in at more southerly points. But yeah, as I say, John was coming through, and I'm like, I could feel this link with him. I started asking questions, and it appeared that he's an ancestor. We are linked. And he could have knocked me down with a feather. He really could have. It was just, you know. There's this famous person in our history. I'm linked to him. Not only am I linked to him, but I'm now involved. I'm in a very similar type of struggle that's going on now. You know, I've been part of that like John was with the Great Peasantry Revolt. All right, John was a lot, you know, higher up as a protagonist, and unfortunately, um, the peasants lost out. Well, they'd lost the battle, as it were. Um, but they did gain some concessions. I can't remember what the ins and outs are. You can look it up in history. Unfortunately, the protagonist, John Wat Tyler, Jack Straw, and some others, basically ended up being hung, drawn, and quartered. And John's head ended up on a pike by London Bridge. So, yeah, that's what happened to my ancestor. He was his body was quartered in different parts of the country, and his head was on the spike in London Bridge. But as I say, he's well written about in history, although he feels it's unfairly written about, which hopefully I'm going to try and help rebalance how John was seen in history. Well, this is kind of going on to the second episode, but yeah, that was, you know, as I say, that it was just a very, very profound moment. And since then, I'd always had an inkling that I wanted to go back to St Mary the Virgin and try and get some more come through, which is what we invariably did. And that is what's coming up this week. And as I said, I know for all the random stuff I do and the murders, instead, we're just trying to sort out the last bit for Patricia Parsons as well, and hopefully some conclusion for Kevin and Patricia. Hopefully, I can get these sorted out very, very soon. As I say, for all that retting and the murders and all that gangster shit, this is by far and away the most profound thing I've been involved with since I started this. Yeah. I think that might also be part to do with it. Weirdly, I'm going to try and do some regressive therapy at some point. I just need to find someone who's genuine and good at what they do, because I've got a feel I can't be hit. I just got this feeling I might not be able to be hypnotised. We'll find out. I'll put the stuff up on here. But as I say, when we go back the next time, I've got two mediums. I've got Rudy, I think you've already seen now, and Stella. She's brilliant. She's just such a great person. Great, lovely lady. And we got some amazing stuff again. And this time, the connection between me and John was a lot closer. It meant a lot more. And as I say, particularly with the struggles that he was doing, I'm involved in similar form of struggles now. And the weird thing is, I'm probably the only one out of my family that is like this. There's no one else. It's hard to describe. To some people, you think it's weird, it's coincidence. It's just a random thing. I don't see anything in randomness anymore. Everything's connected. We do things for a reason. We are here for a reason. We've just got to understand why we're here and what we've got to do. And hopefully more people start to recognise it. We do see an increase in it. It's just getting out and talking to people and saying, you really feel things ain't right. You need to get in touch with yourself and all the rest of this. This is a video for another time. I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm running out of water. So, that's what's coming up this week. St Mary the Virgin, a return to Great Baddow to talk to my ancestor, John Ball. And there's some bonus clips as well from my Ghost Tube app. You can see a little bit of extra what come through. That'll be on the Sunday. Yeah, that's what it is at the end of the day. You'll find I'm saying with Kevin and Patricia. All right. Patricia and Kevin were different because they definitely didn't deserve what they got. They really didn't. you know, it's not right to take a life other than other than in defence. Um, but it was everyone could see what was going to happen to Tony, Craig, and Pat, other than them three. You know, there was the only three that couldn't see it. I think everyone else could. So with those three, it's you know they were bad eggs. I know Pat could be the nicest guy sometimes. Um, without the drugs, he was he, he was still a wrong one. Don't get I don't think we can say anything against that, but he could be the nicest guy as well. So drugs didn't do him any favours. Um, but even as what they were, they've got family that's alive today. You know, they've got children and partners and siblings. So yeah, we do have to treat this as with as much compassion as we can, um, because also you've got the families of Jack and Mickey. You know, seen those two lose the formative part of their years being inside for something they didn't do. There's this whole, from that one event, you got these chain reactions that spawned off of it. And we just got to deal with it again. If there's one thing, that I did learn from the previous two paranormal bits, is I want to keep the numbers down a lot for the next one. Thank you, Stuart. I do want to keep the numbers involved down. I do feel it needs to be a more somber, reflective affair. And I've had, when hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I've now had the benefit of hindsight to know who I would like with me. Um, mediums, people with knowledge, that sort of thing. I know the people who will be with me when we do a third and final paranormal bit down there, and then I'm going to try and tie it all up with the timelines, which is the hardest bit in the minute. Because, as I say, there's one of me. I'm a one-man band. I've got my finger in so many pies. It's unbelievable. So trying to concentrate on each little bit and pieces. It's you sort of do a bit you can with each bit. My personal thing is I want to try and get the Rettendon stuff done. As I said all along with the Rettendon, I'm literally only interested in the events of that day and that night. That's all I'm interested in, and the immediate people that were involved there. I'm not too concerned about what Patsy, what's his face? Sorry, Patsy. Patsy Clark, sorry. I'm not too concerned with Patsy Clark, the Blundalls, whoever else was involved. Yeah, yeah. As I say, I'm not too concerned about those that called it, those that knew about it, those that turned a blind eye, all that business. I literally just want to know what happened that night and who was there. The most important bit is who pulled the trigger. At present, I'm led to believe that was Darren Nichols from my investigations. Obviously, the other port of call is potentially the guy that Billy Jasper come up. And incidentally, I'm just going to talk about Billy Jasper quickly in a minute. So yeah, that's literally all I want to do. Just cover that, and then I'm going to move on. I will look at more unsolved murders. Yeah, Stuart, if you watch my previous two paranormal investigations, he was, yeah, I think there's a very good reason for that. If you watch my previous two investigations, particularly the first one, when we done the Estes method, that's the reason why I'm calling it for Darren. There's more to Darren, and it's something else. The rest of the Rettendon stuff I do, part of that will be looking at the psychology of Darren Nichols, because I'm going to look at his timeline, how that differs, Craig's, Tony's, and Pats. That will be what I'll be looking at after I've done the third one. And I'm going to look at the psychology of Darren because there's more to him than meets the eye. From the fact that he can handle a shotgun. He used to go clay pigeon shooting with his electrician boss. He turned around and said that he'd be quite happy to shoot someone. His little, I think he had a firearms offence on him as well. Yeah, that as well, Stuart. Yeah, that will play a big part of it. So, yeah, as I said, we're going to pay close attention to that. Once I've felt I could go no further with the Rettendon, then I'll start looking at other unsolved murders, and there's loads of them, particularly around Epping Forest, which we'll be visiting again. There'll be some interesting stuff to come from there. Yes, just quickly, just to cover the points about, so Kevin Whitaker, that will be not this week, next week. The Kevin Whitaker stuff, that'll be up next week, and I believe I did get something at that point. And this week is my my interaction with John Ball. That's, as I said, it's a very profound thing I've done there. Content that I have done. We've been down to Wakering Stairs. Correct, Stu. We popped down to a place called Wakering Stairs over Founder's Island, which is an MOD property. Done a little bit there. We're going to go back to that one. That's a very interesting story. Always a very interesting history around Wakering Stairs. What else have we been to? Yeah, we've got stuff coming from my Ghost Hunter tours. There's stuff coming up from that. What was the other bit we did the other day? Oh, we did something else. Oh, my brain's gone. Sorry. I'll let you know in the next vlog. Simple as that. As I said, thanks everyone for watching. We've got John Ball this week, and then following week, Kevin Whitaker. And as I say, there'll be more stuff to come. Thanks everyone for watching, as so you can hear me nose is going. I'm going to shoot off and have an early night. Thanks everyone. Cheers, Kelly. Matthew Hopkins. We've been to Manning Tree and Mistley Woods. Just very, very quickly. We've been to the woods, which is already on my channel, and we went to the Twin Towers in Mistley. I went up there with Paranormal Essex, so go back and watch that one. It was quite. We had some funny games. That's all I can say. We had a very dark spirit to deal with, so we can move a group of spirits that are being held there. So go back and watch it. It's really interesting. All right, thanks everyone. Love and light to you all. God bless you all, and just be the best you can. All right, take care. Good night.